Hi everyone, today's video we are going to be covering some circle terminology. A few topics that we will be talking about first is what is a circle and covering some basic terms. Secondly, chords, which are things like diameters. Thirdly, we will discuss secants and tangents. And finally, we will talk about arcs, specifically minor and major arcs and semicircles. Alright, so what actually is a circle? I know this may seem very basic, but just knowing some basic facts about the shape can really help you in the long run when you're solving problems. So a circle is a round shape that has infinite points. One full rotation around a circle is 360 degrees. Every circle has a center point, which in this case, for this circle, A is our center point. When encountering circles, you will often hear people referring to them as by their center point. For example, this circle would be named circle A because its center is point A. Additionally, all points on a circle are equidistant from the center. When I use the term equidistant, I mean that they are equally far away from the center point. This is actually how you would create a radius. By definition, if we were to measure the distance from any point of a circle to its center, the distance for all of the points to the center would be the same. You will also hear many people say radii in geometry, which is just the plural for word for radius. When you have a complete line segment with its endpoints on either curve of the circle pass through the center, which in this case is point A, it would be considered a diameter. Because we know that a radius is any point on a circle to its center, that would mean that two radii make a diameter. So for example, if you were given a radius and asked to find the diameter, you would simply multiply it by 2 to find the circle's diameter. To get more technical, when I say a point on the circle, I actually mean that it is on the circle's circumference. A circumference is the distance around any geometrical curved shape, which in this case is a circle. Next, we will discuss what chords are. A chord is any straight line segment whose endpoints are on the circumference / on the curve of the circle. Throughout your geometry journey, you will have to memorize many theorems that involve chords. Thus, you must be able to recognize whether a line in a circle is a chord or not. Here is some criteria to consider when determining this. First, ask yourself, is the line a straight line segment? Second, are the endpoints of the segment on the circumference of the circle? If so, then you have a chord. Here we have a diameter. Just a quick question to test your knowledge. Would this be considered a chord? I will give you 10 seconds to answer this question. Alright, let's go over the answer. First, is this line a straight line segment? Yes. Second, are the endpoints of the segment on the circumference of the circle? Yes. Great. So now we know that a diameter is a chord. Just a fun fact, the diameter is actually the longest chord in a circle. Thirdly, we will be going over secants and tangents. A secant line in a circle is a line that passes through 2 points on a circle's circumference, while a tangent line only passes through 1 point on a circle's circumference. The points that it passes through is called the point of tangency. So you can think of a tangent line as only touching 1 point on the circle. So in this case, this tangent line, its point of tangency would be point B. Keep in mind that a secant and tangent lines are not chords because their lines extend outside of the circle. Lastly, we will be discussing arcs. A circle's arc means a portion of the circle's curve, as you can see here. There consist two types of arcs when discussing circles: major arcs and minor arcs. Considering that one full rotation around a circle is 360 degrees, for an arc to be considered major, its measure must be greater than 180 degrees. For example, in arc ABC, the measure of its arc is 200 degrees. I know that this is a major arc because its measure is greater than 180. Secondly, for an arc to be considered minor, its measure must be less than 180 degrees. For example, in arc AB, the measure of its arc is 80 degrees. This is a minor arc because its measure is less than 180. Now that we have gone over these two types, in the middle of a major and minor arc exists a semicircle. A semicircle's measure is always exactly 180 degrees. You might have noticed that a semicircle is actually created when a line passes through the center. In other words, when a diameter is formed. And that is it for today's video. I'll now give you a few practice problems to ensure that you know some circle terminology.